video is sponsored by PotonStore.com, the best place to get yourself some TCG code cards. They are compatible with TCG Live, and you can of course get everything on the website for 5% off using the coupon code ZapdosTCG. This video is also sponsored by CARDMARKET.com. This is a European platform where you're able to buy and sell cards to people all across Europe. I personally use it every single day, and you can do it as well. And you can use the referral name ZapdosTCG to help support the channel. This video is also sponsored by YourPlaymat.com. This is a platform where you're able to, of course, create your own custom playmat. They have, of course, capabilities to ship worldwide, and you can get 10% off by clicking the link down below. So definitely check it out. Last but not least is Dragon Shield, the best brand to protect your beautiful cards. You can of course there's links down below for US and European people, and you can of course get your best quality sleeves available, as well as deck boxes and binders. Thanks so much for sticking around with the commercials. I hope you enjoyed today's upload. If you do, be sure to let me know by rocking the hell out of the like button, and let's get this video going. Sup YouTube, it's ZapdosTCG here, and welcome back to another TCG video on my channel. Today we're going to be checking out the top 16 results of the Champions League over in Japan, with over 3,000 master players. And of course, cards from the 151 set already being legal there. It's going to be opening up our eyes to see what is coming in the future for the upcoming regionals. So with that being said, let's just dive into this video. If you guys are hyped for the daily upload here, let me know by rocking the hell out of the like button. Helps out in many ways. And with that being said, let's see what Japan has been cooking up with and the Champions League. So let's just take a little bit of a look here. The Champions League is 25 minutes best of 1 Swiss rounds during day 1. And then people with 7 wins or more move on to day 2. And then there's 25 best of 1 Swiss rounds for day 2 to follow into a top 16 cut. And then the top 4 players earn an invite for the World Championships, which is actually super excited. So as you can see here, what was being played is Miraidon, Lugia, Rapid Box, Gardevoir, Lugia, Colorless. There's actually 2 Lugia Colorless, by the way, so that seems to be the preferred build over in Japan. There's Gardevoir, Miraidon, Charizard, Gallade also did well, Obsidian, Lugia VSTAR with Lawstone, Chien-Pao, Baxcalibur, Origin Form Palkia, another Lugia Archeops, Chien-Pao, Baxcalibur, Origin Form Palkia, Gardevoir, Giratina VSTAR, Gardevoir. So let's take a little bit of a look of these lists. Big shout out to the players performing this well. So the first place winning list actually was none other than Miraidon EX. So I think a lot of people were expecting Miraidon to do really well after the World Championships, and we do see here the updated version with none other than Zapdos EX being featured here. I already talked about a lot of cards from the 151 set over on my channel, being a video which you can check out in the description below. Be sure to check that out after this video. So what we can see is that it's looking like the Miraidon Fluffy build from World, with of course a lot of Path to the Peak, with Forest Sealstone, the big charms, actually the Bravery charms, having access to Disruption with Judge and Iono, and the Squawk ability for some extra draw dig potential. What is new in this list is Hawlucha and Zapdos EX. For people that have been living under a rock, let me enlighten you. Zapdos EX is a card that you really are gonna be taking a look at, because it actually opens the door in the combination with Hawlucha to take multiple prize cards. So what can we see here is that Zapdos is able to slap 120 damage and 90 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon that has already any damage counters on it. So if you combine that with of course the Hawlucha there, you're gonna have a combination where you're gonna be able on the first turn taking 2 KOs, and that is huge. Definitely with the high amount of Ultra Ball and having access to draw potential with Squawk ability Research, you're going to be able to use Hawlucha and attack with Zapdos on the first turn. That's going to be crippling decks like, of course, the Lost Box, which is awesome, because if you damage Pokemon on the bench, you can actually do it later, and people maybe not expect that, and people will have to slap down their Manaphy now against this Miraidon build. But this is actually the deck that got first place. You also have Collapse Stadium to get rid of maybe your Hawlucha, which you can then reuse with Super Rod, which is something huge to take a look at. Also, you can get rid of damaged Pokemon against Lost Box as well. What else is new is Mew EX. Mew EX is gonna dominate the format for years to come because it can copy paste attacks. It comes back here with the restart. You can use that ability Once during your turn, you can draw cards until you have 3, so pretty much Instruct of Oranguru from Sun and Moon. But also this attack here, the Genome Hacking, allows you to copy-paste an opponent's Pokemon's attack from the active without needing the required energies to do that attack. The only thing you need is like 3 Colorless energies, which means if you can get the Mew EX activated at one point, maybe using Raihan on an attach of the turn or whatever, you can use this Mew EX to copy any attack of your being. That is going to be very huge. You can also set it up with Flaffy, and that's the thing that happened during this Champions League, is that this Mew powered up with Raihan and Flaffy is able to copy any attack. You might even think about copy-pasting a big one-hit KO attack. For instance, if you are up against Palkia, you could also use the 260 damage output, max damage output, with, of course, the attack that it comes back. Well, you can copy anything. Another thing you could do is get Radiant Greninja and then copy paste Radiant Greninja and snipe some more. So a lot of things you can do with this Mew EX, which was part of this first place winning list. Then the second place winning list was with Colorless Lugia. Colorless Lugia seems to be having more hype around it. Because Duraludon VMAX is no longer that prevalent, with decks like Charizard, Chien-Pao, and Gardevoir all running on basic energies. What do we see here is that this is coming back with 2 Thumping Snorlax, and then there is 1 Pokemon Go Snorlax, which can sometimes surprise Gardevoir players to just trap their Manaphy or their Mew or their a lot of Pokemon can get trapped by the Snorlax, which is awesome for sure. We have Luxray, which is able to get itself into play as a stage 2 if you're behind in prize cards, and with Reversal Energy, you're going to be able to punish those Palkias and those opposing Lugias in the mirror match. What else we see here is Drapion for the Mew VMAX, and Mew VMAX actually didn't perform all that well. If we take a look at the top 16, Mew VMAX is completely absent, which means that Mew VMAX is now actually being kept in check by these more powerful decks. That's something to take a look at. Also, there's Mew EX in here as well. You're going to be able to power that up nice and easily thanks to the means of Archeops, and then you can copy paste any attack. 4 Bosses Orders is something that gets my eye immediately, and instead of going for Nesball, they opted to go for Great Ball instead. It's still a solid archetype. You definitely need to check it out, and I also see that Weirdir V is absent from this Colorless Lugia build, but you have so many other attackers you can work with. Moving forward, there's a Rapid Strike Box, 3rd place, and Rapid Strike Box hasn't changed all that much ever since Alex Szymanski did well with it at the World Championships. We still see Clara, we see Cheryl, and that's pretty much all the rest of the cards are just staple cards. Instead of going for 3 Forest Sealstone, they went for 2 Forest Sealstone, still the 3 VIP pass, but they also added in the Hisuian Heavy Ball because sometimes Medicham or the Radiant Alakazam might be prized. And they also added in a Spiritomb to at least have something against Mew VMAX, even though Mew VMAX wasn't that popular at all. I love the Echoing Horn inclusion because you can actually get some additional cheeky prize cards, definitely because a lot of these Pokemon have 60 HP in the format. Think about Mew from Celebrations, think about Pidgey. It's awesome to just get these back and use Yoga Loop on them. You use Double Gunner from the Inteleon VMAX in combination with Radium Alakazam to move around those damage counters, and then Yoga Loop as early as the 2nd or maybe 3rd turn. Very awesome. And then you have G-Max Rapid Flow to take multiple prize cards at once. This has a lot of control over the game on when you're taking prize cards, which is super nice. Then we have the 4th place was a Gardevoir list. This Gardevoir list is using reversals. But instead of going for the Lost Vacuum, they actually went, or Worker or whatever, they went for 4 Stadium cards, which are able to, of course, bump Path to the Peak, which is definitely going to be necessary because Miraidon is very popular. So there's also a new Stadium card in here, which we want to be taking a look at. It is the Moonlight Hill Stadium card. Once during each player's turn, that player may heal 30 damage from all their Pokemon that have any basic Psychic energies attached. So yeah, that's definitely a very insane Stadium card that can help push Shining Arcana to some new heights. So strong Stadium card, and you're going to be able to, of course, get one-hit KOs with Shining Arcana. There's still Mirage Tap Curlia in here to go wide if you're having a little bit of a slow start. There's still 3 candies in here, so you get the turn 2 candy is the turn 2 Gardevoir EX is nothing unheard of, and with 4 Iono you can definitely get back into the game. There's the Artisan to get into the game as well as a Collapse Stadium to get rid of a 2 prize liability, which helps out if you're attacking with Zacian. No Forest Sealstone, no Sky Sealstone. That's something that it's got gets me every single time I'm looking at a list like this. I don't see Forest Seal Stone. Makes sense because they're also not playing Lumineon. I think Torch is the only person that likes to play Lumineon in Gardevoir for all we know. So with that being said, let's move on with this top 16. We have 5th place Lugia Carlos build. And they are playing that Weird Air V, which can absorb all these energies if you fly yourself into the active position with 4 jet energies. That's easier than ever before. There's Burnett and Zinnia's Resolve, which are able to, of course, discard those Archeops, but also Professor's Research raw in hand. I still prefer playing a 3rd Research over Zinnia's Resolve, because Zinnia's Resolve is a little bit more situational, but on the other hand, you don't discard all your energies with that. And this seems to be like a classic build. 3 Snorlax, Thumping Snore, and yeah, the deck is just solid. I think it seems like instead of going for single strike Lugia, people all went for Colorless Lugia over in Japan. Then we have 6th place Gardevoir, and this Gardevoir is, yeah, if we take a little bit of a closer look at this Gardevoir build, it actually looks super nice. Mew EX again in that deck. How many Mew EX were in all these top 16s? A lot. People all love that one inclusion of Mew. Not only do you protect yourself from Iono with the card, you can copy paste any attack in the game as well if you drag something into the active position. So looks like a solid list. They also went for that Moonlight Hill, which seems to be a staple now for the Gardevoir players. So Shining Arcana is definitely going to be pushing to some higher numbers here once we get that 151 set. Then moving forward, there is we don't have the 7th place list quite yet. There is Charizard Gallade, so people want to be seeing some other stuff here. Charizard Gallade here on the 8th place with instead of going for Charizard with Arceus and Pidgeot, they went for Curlias and Gallade. Gallade pretty much can get any supporter every single turn, and Curlia can draw cards. What more do you want, right? You have reversal energy as well, which can sometimes mean that you can't attack with the Gallade if you're behind in prize cards. And this is actually playing 2 copies of the 70 HP Charmander, which we're going to be getting in the 151 set. So pay close attention to that, because that's definitely helping out your Rapid Strike box and Lost box as well. And also, now that I think about it, Lost box also didn't perform all that well. There was way more Miraidon and Carlos Lugia, which maybe kept the Lost box in check, even though Lost box does have a reasonable time into the Miraidon deck. They now come back with Zapdos EX and the Hawlucha, which makes things way harder for them. Definitely if they're not expecting it. Definitely in the best of 1 format, they're gonna be surprised, and that's why this Miraidon deck got 1st place. So this Charizard build seems pretty nice. We're gonna have to test something similar, because yeah, draw power with Curlia is definitely great, and Charizard does more damage depending on how many prize cards the opponent has taken. Moving forward, we have a Goodra, 9th place. We don't have that list. And then a Chien-Pao, Baxcalibur on the 10th place. All the rest of the list, like Lugia, Snorlax, Chien-Pao, Baxcalibur, and the Gardvoir EX. The only card deck that we haven't taken a look at that got into top 16 is like the Goodra list and then Lostina. But Lostina is already so tight of a list that we already have a little bit of an understanding of how the deck actually works out. With that being said, let's take a look at the 10th place Palkia, B-Barrel, Chien-Pao list. This looks pretty interesting, right? Instead of going for the full-on package, which Chien-Pao, they got Palkia as the secondary attacker. I think that's a very risky play right now because of the high amount of hype surrounding yeah, the Miraidon. Will this deck perform well in the future? Who knows? There's no new cards from the 151 set in here. Just a 2/2 B-Barrel, and they have Spiritomb and Lumineon. 2 copies of the Temple of Sinnoh, so they are respecting Lugia a lot. And also, if they have that in play, Reversal Energy no longer works, which actually helps out your Gardevoir in that matter. There is, yeah, Iono, Melanie, Irida, lots of supporters in here, and you have, of course, Ultra Ball to tin your hand, and then use B-Barrel as the draw engine. So I see this deck working out. Palkia is a strong attacker, but as mentioned, with a lot of hype. I've seen a lot of Luxray in the Colorless Lugia build. I've seen a lot of Miraidon. There's still Raikou and Lost boxes, so yeah. What can we conclude from this tournament, ladies and gentlemen, is in that top 16, there is no pure Lost box, and there is no Mew VMAX. And those seem to be like very popular decks over in the West, but in the East, they actually went for a different approach. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this run through of some of the decks from the Champions League over in Japan. I always love checking out these decks to prepare ourselves for the future. If you enjoyed the video, let me know by rocking the hell out of the like button. It helps out in many ways. More lists will get revealed over on PokeStats as well as limitlesttcg.com. So definitely check those websites out when they are refreshed. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you guys sooner rather than later for some more Pokemon TCG madness. Peace.